Everybody, Lorraine Alternative Homesteading again on July 2nd, 2025. And as you can see, my phone is vibrating because the criminals are in my phone. Oh, they stopped. Because it's showing you the evidence of how they're interfering. Third-party interference, interfering with my phone. My favorite Bureau of Investigation. So I found something else on Quora, and then there was a response to one of the posts that I made. So I'm going to read two of those because I found this one dated April 25, which is this year, from DJBeatB, claiming that he is a survivor of psychological warfare campaign from the USA. So here we go. So just in case there are any real TIs reading this crap, he says, we are all part of a very cruel, and this is large, bold print, very cruel research study. Any of the cruel hatred and humiliation you may be experiencing is all due to a partnership between the FBI, DHS, which is the Department of Homeland Security, and some research group who are performing an international study to show how to perform behavior modification and manipulation through targeted acts of harassment and invasion of privacy. Why would it be an international study? Why? Why international? Is that why FISA 702 is still in effect? So that they can have these international research projects? This program was greenlit through our respective government entities, and they selected a group of individuals in the U.S. to be the focus of misinformation campaigns, community-based rumors, acts of provocation, direct harassment by law enforcement, sensory overload through light stimulation, and racial disparity bias. I'm just going to repeat the first sentence. This program was greenlit through our respective government entities, and they selected a group of U.S. individuals to be the focus of all of these despicable campaigns. Basically, we are unwitting lab rats who the government powers voted to have our lives completely blown up, our reputations ruined, our families turned against us, our friends manipulated into believing horrible narratives about us, financial ruin, and yes, some, but limited in number, directed energy weapon attacks similar to those at the American embassy workers, what they experienced in Havana, Cuba. Our military, respectively, are behind this, and for the most part are running the PSYOP portion of this torture experiment. This is why local law enforcement will not help any of us, and why there's a moderate number of police, fire, and EMT workers who seem to be in on it. They are trying to push us to the limit where we either break and thus commit suicide, allegedly like Michaela Raines of Save a Fox, or we adapt and respond in some form of violent resistive behavior. It is MK Ultra all over again. Only this time, everyone damn near is in on it but us. MK Ultra was focused not only on letting people know they were being controlled through LSD, amphetamines, and subliminal messaging via TV, this program has large swaths of the population well aware of the harm being inflicted upon us. And because it is not happening to them, they don't care. Every person should be outraged that once again citizens of your respective countries are being subjected to yet another social experiment, mainly because we're all, my screen keeps flashing in and out, we're all being viewed as collateral damage, both the targets and the harassers. The targets are being driven to the point of suicide or performing some act of hostility towards another race, so we can be sufficiently charged with an act of domestic terrorism or hate crime. Most of you will find your provocateurs are of the same race demographic as you, but you will consistently see some other race, wherever you go, to trigger and enforce hatred for that group of foreign people. I don't know, guys, I haven't experienced that. All of my perpetrators, at least here in Kentucky, have been white trash. And in New Jersey, they were all white. I did, well, there was one who appeared to be like a different ethnicity. He was actually a pretty handsome guy. He looked like he was more of a, I don't know, like a Middle Eastern kind of appearance. I'm not a prejudiced person, so I don't really care what somebody's color is, what nationality is, makes no difference to me. If somebody's targeting me and they're white, I don't like them because they're targeting me. If somebody targets me and they're black, I don't like them because they're targeting me. If they're a female or a male, I don't like them because they're targeting me. I don't care what color they are. It makes no difference to me. But you will consistently see some other race wherever you go to trigger and enforce hatred for that group of foreign people. I'm sure this happens to some people. And my screen is like so freezing up here. If you attack the same race people, you will be viewed as some unhinged reverse racist, and that will be your jacket for prosecution. Otherwise, if you attack the different ethnicity people, then your act will be documented as some kind of a hate crime. Either way, this is a completely deplorable act of disregard for our U.S. constitutional rights and civil rights. This shit has to stop, he says. We are not guinea pigs, nor are we human pincushions. Why are people with rights? We are people with rights, and we need to speak up about it to stop this atrocity from happening. And so that's that comment, and my screen is freezing up here. I'm not able to scroll down. So there were a bunch more comments on this topic. And this is from June of this year. No one believes it's even hard for me as a TI to believe, but I now carry everywhere, and confronted at one point, pinned him to his truck door, and now they have backed off for a moment. God has my back. Well, you know, these perpetrators, they think that we won't do anything to them, but I guarantee, under the right or wrong circumstances, any targeted person would have it within them to take out their perpetrator. You know? That's why, you know, more and more people are armed. And one person says, this purple monkey says, bring it on, I'm tougher than those pussies. I'd make way for a better soldier, and I'm only an army of one. They are clearly jealous of my badass skillet and super potential. Oh my goodness. Everybody's got a different comment. Okay, so now I want to get to a response that somebody gave me. One person says, because they're cowards. Because they're cowards. Because they are cowards. There's nothing alleged about gang stalking. It's all 100% true. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. Okay. And then there was a comment made to me. Let's see, where did it go? 1 second. I marked it too. Here it is. David. And meanwhile, I've got these marks like all over me. I don't know what this stuff is. David Johnson commented on my post in Learning and Research for Targeted Individuals. I have a page there called Learning and Research for Targeted Individuals, and I repost videos from my YouTube channel there. And he responds to the video that I posted, "What's left of 3 vandalized greenhouses? Community stalking hate crimes. When I moved to this Kentucky farm in 2019, I installed multiple style raised garden beds. This is wrong. Somebody changed my wording. It says I sold a high tunnel and 2 smaller greenhouses that were face to face, all 3. They weren't sold. Somebody changed my wording here. I'm going to have to go back in here and fix it. Unbelievable. He says, mine used a lot of the same tactics. They put little dents in my vehicles, cuts in the upholstery. They let air out of the tires, drain fluids out, etc. Also with my clothes. They will stretch out elastic and put little cuts in the fabric and splashing bleach on them. They like to do minor, almost unnoticeable attacks, but daily. Over the course of, say, a year or 2, totally destroys the items. I've had the exact same thing happen. You've seen my Zerzetsung fashion show. He said, did you and your attorney ever tell the FBI, CIA to take your name off the watch list? I don't know what attorney he's referring to. Since you obviously are not a terrorist and your name was there, it would seem like the list is just an excuse or a justification to abuse their authority and abuse citizens, and your attorney should be able to make them remove it. Well, I did have an attorney briefly in New Jersey who was supposed to get me an appointment with the former chief of police, Michael Fountain, but he never did. So he dragged it on and on and on, likely because I was targeted, was not aware of it. But I ended up firing him and asking for my money back. There was one instance where he gave my money back, and then one instance he did not. He kept it. So yeah, they're all in on it. You know, the criminal fraternity. So no, I did not. I don't have an attorney. So he might be referring to something that he saw or heard in one of my videos. He says, I wonder if exposing and making their choices public would have any effect. Maybe ask them why they are calling it a terrorist watch list when the people on this list aren't terrorists. If an attorney asks this in a courtroom, the public and the judge should see it as obviously not being used as it was intended. They adopted the word terrorist after 9/11 and now use it on anyone they want, even when people obviously have 0 ties to terrorism. The FBI has lost a lot of credibility in the last couple of years, which would definitely help. Maybe someone would take it further and try to have the watch listing stopped altogether. I have been considering doing it because if your name isn't on the list, then I don't think you can be targeted. Once labeled a T, I believe you lose all your rights, and I think that is the purpose of putting us on that list. Well, I haven't seen any written documents by any of the intel agencies that says that once you're on the terrorist list that you lose all of your rights. I want to see it in writing. And I want to see what the criteria it is that they utilize to place somebody on the list. But they don't. Because the last time somebody did an expose on the watch list was the ACLU in 2016. It was entitled Trapped in a Black Box, Growing Terrorism Watch Listing and Everyday Policing, and I have read it on my channel. Others have read it also. It's an excellent PDF that you can find anywhere online. Just type it in, you'll find it. Now, the ACLU wrote this in 2016. It has not been updated. And when they wrote it in 2016, it wasn't based upon 2016 FOIA materials. It was based on materials that they FOIA requested of the FBI, and it was incomplete. So they were working on FOIA information from 2006 to 2008. Not 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And they wrote it in 2016. I would imagine it took them a long time to acquire the information and then consolidate it into this fabulous PDF that's online. But 2016 it's a long time ago. We need an updated version. Right? It's 10 years ago, almost 10 years. We definitely need an updated version. And I guarantee that some of the lists that they mentioned, like the hit list, may have been rebranded. It might have a different name. And the reason, and Karen Stewart has mentioned this multiple times during her interviews, that the reason when you FOIA request them, where the FBI will say, I can't confirm or deny that you're on any list, or like when I FOIA requested the fusion centers, which are here with Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security, said that they have no records at all on me. Zero. And the reason is, as Karen Stewart mentioned, is that the people that are looking for the information can only request information at their level of security clearance. So let's say if they're a secretary, whatever, and they request the information, if they don't have a security clearance, they're not going to get the information. They're only going to get the level of information that they could get at their level of security clearances. So, and even people with security clearances, there are different levels where they may or may not have access to these hidden folders that only top secret security clearance people would have access to. So when we do a regular FOIA request that the regular people are looking for, even if they have a security clearance, they may not come across the secret folder with all of our names on it. That's why when we FOIA request, we receive a message back that we can't confirm or deny that you're on any list at all. Because the people looking through the lists may or may not have the appropriate security clearances to even get into that secret buried file with your name on it. So these are the problems. And now I am so glad, I'm so glad to see that somebody changed my wording in here. I sold a high tunnel and 2 smaller greenhouses that were face-to-face, all 3. I never sold them. They were vandalized. So somebody literally went in here and changed my wording. This is unbelievable. So anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I'll leave a comment down below. I look forward to hearing your responses, and I will talk to you guys soon.